Good afternoon, Mr. Thomas.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Enjoying the slush.
Oh, is it? I haven't had a chance to look outside, getting prepped for a big weekend at Sha Tin. This is an unusual weekend for them. Tell us the significance of this weekend at the Hong Kong track.
Well, this is one of the few times that foreign entries are permitted to race in Hong Kong. So some of the usual suspects are there from England and France, and there are no U.S. runners, which kind of surprises me. But on the other hand, who knows? Of course, we've got some Australian runners, and we even have one from Singapore.
And I saw a German horse in there, if I remember correctly.
A couple of German horses in there.
So I think I saw New Zealand horses. So I think they're from all over the world except from here.
Yeah, kind of interesting too, because certainly there's a few bucks on the line.
Yes, indeed. So is this like one of the most significant weekends at Sha Tin? The most significant weekend?
Well, I mean, obviously the locals have their major runs, but this, for the international side of the world, this is one of their few that are open to the international horses. And it's pretty significant. They make a big deal out of it. And why not? I mean, some decent races for decent money. And let's not. And I like those. A lot of the local horses look pretty good. So
we're going to start off with race number 4, which is going to start at 1:10 a.m. Eastern. I should note that as of now, the track is listed as good. And if we take a quick look at the Sha Tin weather, it looks like from now to Sunday, because these races are going to be from Saturday night through Sunday morning, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make 100% sure so I don't get completely confused. But it looks like the weather should stay nice.
It's Sunday there.
Sunday there, but it's kind of Sunday morning for us, like in the crossover from Saturday
very early morning for us.
Insomnia racing, as we like to call it, right? This is actually going to be all night racing if you're there the whole time. All right, so race number 4, the first one on the card. This race is a race that's going to go 1.5 miles. If we look at the Sha Tin track map here, it looks to me like, well, let's look here so we can get a sense of where this one's going to go. Looks like they're going to start here on the track right here, and then they're going to come all the way around and then back around, Thomas. So looking at that track map from your experience there, watching races, what sort of horses are we looking for? Speed, closers, any of the above?
Speed generally doesn't hold, but there are exceptions, of course. There's a long run to the first turn. So horses can generally get into pretty good position without too much trouble. And this isn't a big field, so I don't see any horses really at a disadvantage of being out in the outside posts.
Okay. So taking a look quickly here at the early pace in this race. Of course, it's going to load now. I had it in there before already, but it looks like the Irish horse, according to the locals, there, Stone Age, likes to lead, and from the inside draw, should get the lead easily enough. The French horse, Botanic, likes to race on the pace, so he'll not be that far away. All this information is available on Hong Kong HKJC.com. So racing.hkjc.com. So you can get a sense of what the early pace of this race might look like. It looks to me like, Tom, it should be a fairly bunched up field from the beginning to the end. Maybe not a whole lot of distance from the leading horse's nose to the trailing horse's tail. But when they get to the finish line, it won't be the case. Who do you have getting their nose there first?
I did take number 5, Botanic, as my top choice. I'm going to go break from post 5. This is a French runner who's coming off really not a great race in the Prix Dollar at Longchamp, where it finished 10th. But the distance was 1,950, and I don't think that's a distance this horse is really good at, because prior to that, it had wins at, 3 wins, some Longchamp wins and some Deauville wins, and they were races between 2,400 and 2,500 meters. And these were on the good to soft going, where that last race was, I don't know how good the conditions were for that one. It was a bit very soft, and I don't think that suited the horse. And the reason why is because this is generally a front runner, as you saw on the speed map, but I even think it's going to take the lead. I don't think Stone Age will. And when one of those races, it beat one of the top Japanese horses, Stay Foolish. It was only by a head, but it counts.
The
The
W
thing
is a
is,
W. That's what they look like on the scoreboard, right? Just ask Brazil.
yeah, right. Well, you got to hit those penalty kicks. My only concern is it's only placed once in a Group 1 race in France as a 2-year-old. So a little bit of a step up. But you got Andre Fabre and William Buick, and the record, 13 starts, 7 wins, 2 seconds, and 1/3. It's a pretty good horse. Next choice is going to be one of the Japanese runners, the number 9, Win Maryland, going to break from post 3. Very strong second last time out in the QE2 Cup at Hanshin. It got beat by a good horse, and again, it was on a very soft going because all its wins have been on good or good to firm. So I think getting a second for on a track that it generally doesn't like is really showing some form. And that's why I think, because I'm looking back at its races for this season, and April, the first race was a mess. Then it took 2 months off, came back and ran 7th, took another little bit of time off, and then ran 3rd in a Group 2 at Sapporo. I think this one may be coming to form. Looks like it took a little while, and they're being patient, which is always a nice sign. Do it right. Do right by the horse, too. So, if she comes anywhere to duplicating that record of last time out on a surface that she generally likes, this is a horse that could easily win. And record-wise, 16 starts, 5 wins, 2 seconds, and a 1/3. So it's not a slouch. Finally, I'm going to take number 10, Stone Age, as my final choice. Post 1 ran really some average races in his last 5 starts prior to the Breeders' Cup. But it was, it also took the tour. It was at Belmont, Saratoga, Epsom, Leopardstown, Ascot, and then finally at Keeneland. I was impressed with its run in the 1.5-mile race at Keeneland in the Breeders' Cup. I really thought the horse that won was the top horse, but I didn't put this one in there, and I was wrong. Very strong, and really no match for the winner. Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore, pretty good.
Yeah, kind of hard to overlook that combination. And I won't overlook it either, but I don't have it as my first pick as well. I'm going to start off with number 4, Mendocino. It's a horse that, for me, does have a Group 1 win, so I think it fits here for sure. And as you look at the horse's performance, it seems to me it really prefers the good footing. Next up for me is Glory Vase. This horse definitely has the back class, Thomas, but the 7-year-old campaign has not been all that solid, finishing 8th and 6th. But any reversion to its prior form could be more than good enough to win in this spot. Number 5, Botanic.
Won this race last year, so.
Yeah, it just looks out of form right now. But, sometimes these old timers, I know from myself, I used to play basketball with a bunch of kids that were like 15, 20 years younger than I am. And, I tell my son, once you better get about 40, the standard deviation starts to climb. Some days when you're 40, 45 years old, you play like you're 25, and other days you play like you're 75. So maybe we'll get the 25-year-old version of Golden Vase on Sunday or Saturday morning. I do like Botanic. Your top pick, number 5, is my third pick. The horse just seems to prefer this 1.5-mile distance. Has done it 4 times. Thomas has have a trio of wins. And certainly the good track appeals to Botanic because it's been across that surface 7 times with 5 wins and a second. Those are records that are hard to argue with. And again, you had Stone Age as your final choice. My final choice, too. You just cannot overlook Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. It's a good horse. Just looking through here, I felt like some of these other horses might find the distance and the surface more to their liking. We'll find out when they run the race, right?
It's the way it works.
Indeed. Plus, you're going to get, I think, short odds on that guy. Next up on our list, eventually, will be, I don't know what's going on here. I had all this stuff opened up, Thomas, so I'm not quite sure what to make of this, but it is going to be race number 5, which is the Hong Kong. There we go. Thank you. It is the sprint. This race here is going to be 6 furlongs. Again, if we take a look at the track map, 6 furlongs is going to start here. Going to come around one turn. We're going to burst to the finish line. Thomas, again, we'll take a look at. Probably going to have to wait a minute here. Let's see if it comes up quickly. Yes, indeed. This one's there. Sight success can be positive from his draw and gets the rail first. Gendarme likes to be prominent in his races. Again, this looks like he might get 4 up front, a pack of horses behind, and a quartet that will try to close out. At 6 furlongs on the Sha Tin course, can they go wire to wire, Thomas?
I'd be surprised. To be honest, these tend to be closing horses, and some of them from far back, but not, really good. Again, like our races here, it depends on what the pace is up front.
Okay.
They hit that when they hit that turn, it's all positioning and who's moving. And they hit that top of the stretch. It's a bit of, it is a long run to finish. So it gives a lot of chance when they fan out to see either who's going to cut from the inside or who's going to take the lead from the outside.
Who's going to take the lead when they hit the finish line?
Well, I think number 1, Wellington, is going to take it. Coming out of post 10. Won 4 in a row and then ran 6th. Well, it ran 6th because it came back lame. So that check was called, and there was a problem. He's really a 1,200 meter specialist, and he either wins or he doesn't do anything. 14 starts, 9 wins. It's interesting. They made a jockey change on this, and Ryan Moore's going to ride, which I found very curious because this is a Hong Kong horse. I did take 3. Gendarme is my next choice. Has post 8. Really interesting horse coming in from Japan. He won last time out in a big sprint race there, and he was close to the lead, and he ran a final quarter in 34 seconds flat, and they finished at 1:07:08. That's quick by anybody's standards. Because previous races, this horse it won 2 races, and then either it finishes 11th, 13th, 11th, or 17th. So who shows up? I don't know. Yeah, very interesting.
The Jekyll and Hyde horse.
Yeah, and these were in Group 1 or Group 3 races. So, he's keeping good company. And that last race, he went off at 20-1. And it was a Group 1, and he won. So who shows up today? That's really the big question. They obviously think the horse is in form, or they wouldn't be spending the money and shipping it in and the entry fees you got to pay. And I just think it's a really interesting horse to watch. Either that or it'll do absolutely nothing. Finally, I'm going to take number 4. That's Lucky Swayze. That's post 3. This horse has been going very well over its career. It's got 10 starts, 7 wins, 2 seconds, and 1/3. That contest, it's been in the money. It won its last race in a Group 2 after a bit of a laying off that lead. It was in 7th and then moved forward. And again, very quick time. 1:07:05. That's quick. Move up in company here a little bit. Up in company, in the money all the time, and really in top form. And that's why I had to put it in there.
I had to put him in there too. Where you leave off, I begin with Lucky Swayze. This horse at the track, Thomas, 5 times, won 4 of them. The other one was a 2nd place, so clearly likes to run at Sha Tin. And at the distance, run 9 times, 6 wins, 2 seconds, and a 1/3. So if I do my quick math, that's 9 out of 9 in the money at the distance, 100% at the track as well. So a horse loves the distance, loves the track. Going to probably be a decent price as well, I think, because Wellington, your first pick, my second choice. I think this one will attract a lot of money in here. As you mentioned, Tom, Wellington is either going to get the job done as the winner or probably going to run off the board. Wellington at the distance, 14 times out, 9 wins and nothing else overall in its career. It's run 18 times with an 11 wins and a second in there. So completely a light switch horse, mostly on, but every now and then Wellington is off. Number 8, Limbs K something or another. Kit Limbs Kosciuszko. I have no idea. But speaking of a horse that absolutely loves the distance, Tom, did you happen to catch his record at the distance of 6 furlongs?
It's pretty good.
8 times out. Guess how many wins?
8 wins.
8 and 8 for 8. So, it seems to be that horse has a nose for the 6 furlong finish line. And let's see if he can make it 9 for 9. That's another one I think that'll be a decent price today. And then finally, my last choice is number 14, Resistencia. Looking at the 14 horse, has a Group 2 win and has been pretty close at the Group 1 level on a couple of occasions. So certainly one that I believe can fit here. We're going to skip forward from race 6 to race 7. Hopefully, yeah, there you go. It's going to do this thing again. So while it does that, look, screw it. While it does that, let's take a look at the early pace in this race. We're going to find that California Sprangle should be able to get to the front and lead this field. But looking at the graphic here, it looks like California Sprangle's likely to have a lot of company in this spot. This race is going to be, let's see, what race are we? Race number 7, right, Thomas?
7, yes.
So race number 7, this guy is going to start at 3 a.m. Eastern. So you're going to definitely need a Monster Energy drink before that. This one is 1 mile on the main track. And again, if we look at 1 mile on the track map, we're going to start back here, make their way around. So you talk about a long backstretch to get positioning. They're going to have a long way to run back here and then a long way to run to the finish line. This looks like a tiring type race to me, Thomas. Is this a positioning race, speed race, closing race?
I'm going to go with closers, even though California Spangle has been impressive in a number of races and sitting on the lead. But with that, I can't pass up on number 1, Golden 60.
Yes.
Post 4. Unbelievable record. I wish I owned a horse like this. 25 starts, 22 wins, a second and a third.
And I just wish I owned the horse.
Yeah. At this distance, 11 wins and 1 second. He won a Group 2 last time out at Sha Tin, went in 134, but his final quarter was incredible, 21-3. That is absolutely flying, considering he's coming off a layoff.
Mm-hmm.
That he's a dead closer, and he's going to be moving at that end, and he's done that more than a few times, and he's won this race last year. Don't see any reason why he couldn't do it again. And based on that record and what he did in his last race, it's kind of hard for me to pass on him.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard for most people to pass on him.
Yeah, well, he's he's 7 years old and he's still got it. With that, number 10, Danon Scorpion is going to be my next choice. Number post 6 is going to break from. The last race was awful, to say the least. 11th out of 15. Sat middle and just didn't do anything. So I tossed that race. This is the only 3-year-old in this race. He's won a Group 1 in Japan at this distance. He's also a dead closer. But he'll be a little farther back than Golden 60 will be. He's bounced back before after a poor race. It was interesting that they placed him in here and they put William Buick up. So I couldn't ignore it, and that's why I put it for second. And Way Cuckoo is going to be my final choice. Number 9. It's both going to break from post 9. He ran an even race last time out behind Golden 60, finished 3rd. His first start of the season was awful. It was 11th, so obviously he needed a race before that last outing. He can honestly say that he is one of the few horses that have beaten Golden 60. He did that last year in the Stewards Cup. And that was the first loss that the horse had in a long string of wins. The big thing in that race was Golden 60 did not get going at the right time because he flew at the end. But this horse got out, made an earlier move, and that's how you held him off. He has 3 wins at this distance, and but more importantly, he's won 3 times in Group 1 races. I think he'll improve off the last start, but will he get the jump on Golden 60 again? I don't think so. I think there's enough other group, especially this California Spangle and the speed that horse has. This should be a very honest pace.
Yeah, we'll find out about 3:02 a.m. Eastern if he can get the jump. I think it's hard to argue with Golden 60 as the top pick. As you mentioned, Tom, this guy's been out at the distance 12 times, won 11 of them. It's strong record, one that you cannot overlook, and one where you have to put the horse on top. I have California Spangle as my second choice in here. California Spangle on the good track, been out 13 times, won 8 of them, came in second in 5, so that adds up to 13 out of 13, running first or second. I think in this spot, though, he might be more of a candidate to run second because he's run at the distance 4 times, only managed to win 1 of them, and came in second in 3 of them. So maybe this is a horse that needs a little more distance and not 6 furlongs. I'm going to go with
no Golden 60 on the race would help too.
That probably would help a lot. It would help all the other 9 in here as well, I think. Schnellmeister is a German horse. Well, you would have never guessed by the name Schnell. So it means go fast, mister. Or I think that's what Meister means. I don't remember. But anyway, this one's making its 3rd start off the break, and one that does seem to like the distance with 6 races, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a 3rd. I think you'll see the horse improve in the 3rd off a layoff, and I'm expecting the same thing from Dana Scorpion, a horse that's making its 3rd start off the layoff as well. Looking back at that resume, I expect to see a better performance out of number 10, Dana Scorpion. All right, Thomas, we're going to go off on race number 8. Let's see if race number 8 will show up on. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Hong Kong is working with us today. Yes, it's magic. Oh, it's magic. So this one is this is a 1.25 mile race. It's going to start right before the finish line. So they're going to start right here at 2,000 meters, come around, all the way back around. So this quick get to the turn, Thomas, what does that mean for the pace of this race?
Means you got speed on the inside. Watch out. How they will set the pace and what they'll position. And then really it depends on the type of running the horse prefers. You know, there are ones that come from dead last and win. But I generally see those mid-pack types, and they hit that top of the stretch and they make their move there. And a lot of them will make it late because it is, keep in mind, it's a long stretch. So you don't have to be moving on the turn as much as you do moving after you get out of the turn.
So according to this speed map here, Panthalassa looks like it's going to have the lead all to itself because you get a gap here between. And I haven't seen this, honestly, at these charts when we've done the Sha Tin. So it looks like he's going to be a length and a half ahead of everybody else going through that first turn. If you could settle down and run good fractions, Thomas, is it a horse that's major picks?
No. I thought there was enough speed in there, but that one will definitely be a couple lengths in front coming in that turn. And the post is okay. So, but with that, I decided to take a long shot. I took number 6. Dana on the Kid, going to break from post 6. He's coming off really some good races overall. A third, and a second. And he's been moving up in company from Group 3 to 2, then to 1. And distance-wise, they've been running him at 1,600. That first race, 1,800, and then now they're up. And the last race was at 2,000. He in the past he's won Group 1s at this distance, so right in there. And it looks like there's a little sneaky form in there. And with that, maybe they were preparing it for this race. With that, and definitely a long shot. You're going to get some money. If this one wins, you're going to get some money.
You're going to get paid. Go Christmas shopping. I'm Tom.
Oh yeah. Well, the reason being is because that number 2 horse, Romantic Warrior. It's been doing pretty good overall. We're getting a break from post 7. And to say it hasn't done much things badly, I would say is being an understatement. Overall record, 9 starts, 8 wins, and a 4th. That's pretty
They're
good.
like the Croatian goalie in penalty shootouts, baby.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, it's a local horse. And with that, it moved up from class 4 handicaps in 2021, and now it's a Group 1 winner. So this is a horse that's definitely been improving big time all along. Seasonal debut, and ran on even terms for most of the race, and then it finished out at this distance going 1 minute, 59 seconds and 23. With a final of 22 and 8.3. Well, that's the one to beat in my mind.
Yep.
That's a damn good race, unless it bounces from that race. Well, hasn't bounced yet, so I kind of doubt it. Number 11, Geolift. Geolift as post 3 is my next final choice. Last start was his first start of the season, which I find really interesting. It was finished 9th, was 5 lengths bank. So it's an interesting place because he tried the Japanese Derby at 2,400 meters and had nothing. Well, guess what? I think it was too far, because he won the 2000 their version of the 2,000 guineas in Japan, the Sakuchu, and that was at this distance, and ran mid-pack and won. If you toss that last start in the beginning, you add William Buick, and I think maybe you get a little bit of price on this horse. Breaking from post 3, I think helps.
All right. So I like Romantic Warrior as the top pick. I know I'm getting really kind of chalky on that one. Me and everybody else on the planet that's going to be betting that horse. But I mean, horses making the classic third start off a layoff, run at the distance 3 times, won all 3 of them, been out 9 times, won 8 of them. So unless this is the 1 out of 9 where something goes wrong, it's your number 1 candidate to go ahead and get that W. I'm going to go ahead and say that there's one horse up in here, Panthalasia, should be able to capitalize on that early speed advantage. Thomas, when you look at the horse's record in the second up, as they call it, second after layoff where we're from, the horse has been pretty solid. So I think you're going to see some improvement. I don't think you're going to see crazy fractions if you can get an easy lead. And the horse, I expect, should be hanging on at the end just to get passed by Romantic War. Number 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, right in order. Jack Dior is the next one on my block. Has a couple of Group 2 wins. And this is another one I think that could press for the lead. I think it'll be wire to wire or nothing. So between the 1 and the 3, I expect one of them to hold on and one of them to fade away. If they go easy enough fractions, could be one of those where they go 1, 2 all the way around the track. And if not, number 12, Le Papale is my final choice. This one should be another one that I expect to have some improvement in its second start after a layoff. At least that's what the resume says. Final race we're going to do today, Tom, is race number 10. That is the Highland Real Handicap. The Highland Real Handicap is going to go off at approximately 5 a.m. Eastern. So if you're up all night, this is the one that will be
getting up early in the morning.
Yeah, is this the nightcap or the morning cap, Tom?
You could look at it either way. I mean, for them, it's the end of the racing day, so to speak, and for us, it's could be our first race of the day.
Yeah, when you're just first getting up, 5 a.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock. This one is going to be 7 furlongs, on that track. If you look at the 7 furlongs, they're going to start back here, come their way around. And then, so you still got that long back stretch to get into that wide sweeping turn, to come back down to the wire to see which one ends up in the winner's circle. According to the early, okay, so now you're going to make a fool out of me again here. According to the early pace, while it loads, Thomas, unlike the previous race, this one looks like it's going to have Circuit Stellar barely on the lead with a cavalry of horses right behind it, putting a lot of pressure on it. When I see a race shape that looks like this, I would expect the winner to come from in here somewhere. Somebody with tactical speed that has a lot of late juice and gets a good trip. Is that how you would see it too?
Yeah, I think so. This is a Class 2 race. So these are decent horses overall, and we got a nice big full field here. And picking number 5, I'm a Single Man is my top choice. Going to break from post 5. Ran 6th last time out as the favorite after running a second in the 2 previous races. The running of the last race, it did have some problems. Got bumped and some traffic issues. He's at this class level. He has 8 starts. He has a win and 3 seconds and a third. But he's won twice at this distance, which I kind of like, and I think the rider change will help. Number 9, Oriental Smoke, was ranking from post 7 is my next choice. He won at 1,200 meters, and he's moving up in class after that win. That's okay. He's number 1 at this distance, but he has tried it 4 times and been in the money 3 of them. So not a win, but getting there. And they putting the top Hong Kong jockey is riding him. That's Zach Bruton. And he returns. And it's definitely a horse that's in form.
Mm-hmm.
And number 4, the Irishman, is going to be my final choice. Going to break from post 5. He went out last time out. He ran at Happy Valley. He ran 7th, and he had trouble and traffic, and he was blocked. And he's a late mover, and he needed a break. He didn't get one. Previous races, he's won. I would say he ran from the clouds because he was 14 lengths back, something like that, and won by 3/4 of a length.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely one who will be flying at the end. I think at least get the money. Win, it has a chance.
Yeah, I think of the races we did this one. This is the one for me that I felt like had the best shot for a lot of big prices to come home in. Very competitive open race. I'm going to start off with number 10 as my top choice. Beauty Live. This one's making its second start after a layoff. Again, looking through the past performances, looks like the horse typically improves in round 2 off the bench. It's a guy that has definitely appreciated the distance. 7 races, 4 wins in there with a third. And on a good track, that's the surface this horse wants to run on. 9 times, 4 wins, a second, and a couple of thirds. So an improving horse on a distance and a surface that he likes. I expect that will result in a W, and hopefully at a good price. I don't even know what the odds are on any of these horses, to be honest with you. Number 4, the Irishman, Thomas. So a little bit of agreement between you and me. I like the Irishman in here too. This is another horse that's liking the distance. Ran it 5 times, got a couple of wins, a couple of seconds off the board in the other. And the distance to me and the footing to me is the question, not the distance. Because if you look at the horse, it seems like it's done most of its good work on a little bit softer track. So let's see if maybe today that changes. I'm also in agreement with you on Oriental Smoke. I think the one thing here that stands out to me, Thomas, is if you look at that rating change off that last race, and this horse has been in the money 10 out of 11, but that rating change here is the highest in the field at +5. So that was some significant improvement in its last race there to get that big of a bounce in its rating score. And then finally, number 2, Lucky With You, closes out my Sha Tin picks and our Sha Tin picks as a group. This horse is extremely consistent, no question about that. If you look through the fractions in its last race, they improved, I think, by about 2 seconds last time out. And that's something I really love when I'm looking through the past performances. When I see that improved speed figures, in fact, I put a tweet out about this yesterday with an example from a race yesterday at Aqueduct, the final race where the 10 horse 15-1 morning line went off. I think it's 7-1, actually won. And I'm finding in my race notes over and over and over again, better fractions, better times, better pace numbers with a workout. The only thing I don't know about this horse is if it had a workout between races.
That information's available. Why don't you move up a little and just show people where you can find this? They have, rate.
Form line reports, exceptional factors.
No,
track work.
no, keep going up. Yeah, there you go.
Track work. All right. So
that'll tell you what it's been doing over the last, a long time, actually.
All right. So
if
we
it
know that
comes.
that's there for next time. There we go. So, all
There
right.
you
So
go.
I'm
There-
looking
there's
at
your work there. You just have to go down to the horse you want.
lucky to be with you. Sha Tin. Looks like it had a workout right here on the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a while ago. So I don't know if it's had another one, if that's between races or not. But
Well, and then if you move up the different columns about what tells what activities they're doing. So galloping, trotting. If they put them in the pool to swim, and then if they have a barrier trial.
What a nice life they have. Swimming, 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 going swimming, going swimming, going swimming. Yes, indeed. And people worry about.
But this is, I think that's helpful information at times. If I want to, if a horse coming off a layoff and I really don't have any idea, especially with a Hong Kong horse, where it is in conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And why not? I mean, use the information that they give you. Unlike the Australian form where they put the barrier into there, into the racing form, Hong Kong doesn't. So you do have to look it up and find out if they ran a barrier trial.
Actually, the ones that I use do have it, Tom. I'll link to them in the,
okay,
as I always do in the article we'll put up at horseracingtoday.net, where we'll put up Tom's notes, my picks, as well as all the links to all the information that we put up here today. So you'll be able to catch all of that over at horseracingtoday.net. While you're there too, you'll see a link in the menu that says Horse Racing Today gear. If you like what we do, hell, you hit a couple of winners, go out, pick up a t-shirt, help support the show. You'll look great at your Christmas parties with a Horse Racing Today t-shirt on or sweatshirt, or even a golf shirt.
No ugly sweaters.
I could put one together. Maybe I should put an ugly sweater together. But what we can put together for you is down in the links below. You'll see there is a link to the picks with the professor. Next Friday, bowl season kicks off. So you're going to want all the professor's help, making sure you can navigate through all of those bowl games, which ones that are good plays, which ones are good avoids, and which ones, well, you want to totally load up on, I guess. I don't know. There's a link down there below. Go ahead and let the professor know we sent you over there. Of course, be loud, be proud. Let him know Horse Racing Today sent you. Any sense of where Foreign Fridays is going to travel to next weekend, Tom?
No, I haven't done my homework. I'm been remiss, but I'll certainly do it over the next couple hours and find where we should go. It's not going to be racing like this, though.
No. Well, the good thing is, if you pay attention to us on our social sites below, you'll see Horse Race the number 2 day, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, now TikTok. And while you're here on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. So when we go live, well, no matter where we are in the world next Friday, you'll know exactly where it is. It won't be a surprise to you like it will be to me next Friday, Thomas. Any final thoughts before we get up and get out of here?
Well, this is a great card.
It is. From
and
beginning
even
to
some
end.
of the minor races that are in between are worth taking a look at. But the 4 main ones, extremely competitive, and the local horses I expect to do very well.
And on Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern, myself and Terry will get together to cover Louisiana Champions Day at Fairgrounds, a really good card. 9 races at the New Orleans track, so make sure you tune into that. Going to break out some data again, hopefully, if I can get it all squared away. We're going to start doing something new on Saturday, a little bit different than the way we've been handling our daily shows. We're still going to make our picks, but we're going to change it up a little bit. So you're going to want to tune in to see what those changes are. We think that you will like them. In fact, I'm certain that you'll like the changes that we're going to make. So we're looking forward to breaking those out tomorrow, Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern. Till then, Tom, till we get back together again, no matter what it is that you're doing, no matter where it is that you're doing it, we hope it ends up in just one place. And where can that be?
Winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. Sorry, Brazil.